Yep, loud and clear.
We're going to talk about Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, Ferrari, man. Holy shit. Finally, they get a strategy that it was a Hail Mary, but holy shit, how everything just fell together was. I was sitting there watching as Lewis is racing up that fucking field behind everyone and just cutting through all the way up, you know? He was, what was he at the most behind? No, he wasn't like a minute or anything. He was up there though. It was like 30 something seconds or something like that, and he ended up bringing down to 15 seconds in 2 laps or 3 laps. And then holy shit, dude. And then watching that drive, I was just like, this is fucking crazy. This is Lewis how I remember, and he's not in a dominant car. So all the haters, it's in a Ferrari that's been okay, but it's been a lot of fuck ups. It did come back with upgrades, but I'm just saying, like, it was so validating for me finally. I was like, dude, I was like, yes, it was hard to try to keep him going as a fan. He never saw my ass, so he never saw me, but in every race I was like, come on, you fucker, come on, you know who you are. And he thanked me today on the podium, so that was pretty cool. That's why I said for the first time in ever, probably, their damn strategy came through. And it was thanks to the Astons being shit. I still think that he would have ended up somewhere up there at the end when Kimi's car went down as well. I think he had the pace and the drive and the hunger that if he would have had to do a not free pit stop, I still think that he would have raced. It would have been better, I think. I think it would have been even better because Kimi and Russell would have been going actually hard, because after Lewis got in front and he just went 1 point something seconds, 2 point something, 3, 15, and then ended up at like 25 seconds ahead of everybody at the end, or 24 something. That's seeing how much pace that car had and everything, but he was in clean air as well. So I don't know. I still think he could have came back, and I honestly think the other two would have took each other out, because by the end of the race, once Lewis was so far ahead, Kimi was getting radio messages of like, pretty much just like, bring it home. Like, just don't do nothing. Let's just take this how it is. And then I don't know if at some point he was like, man, fuck this. I got more pace. So then he passed, and ultimately it was his undoing. I wonder if he would have just brought it home and kept Norris back, if Norris would have ever lunged for it, and if Kimi could have maybe limped it in P3. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't want to apologize to Ferrari engineers and strategists and all engineers, yeah, and the people that are fabricating these parts that are working. That's awesome. But I also think that they're not watching this video, but I would like to think that some of them have, and that it's pushed them to actually create, to get to where they are. If they didn't have this kind of pressure of everybody constantly being like, your strategies are fucking your drivers all the time, if they didn't have that heat on them, I don't think that they would have tried as many new things, including Lewis pushing them to be like, let's try this, let's try that, let's try different things, because it's not working over here right now, you know? So I cried my ass off when he was on the podium. I was like, oh, it's like wiping my tears on my shirt, man. Oh, it was such a good race. I agree completely. I had Hadjar on there originally just because of how bad he just disappeared from P6? What that he started at 7? He disappeared out of nowhere, but I agree. Up until then it was Hadjar for me, and then when that happened with Kimi, it broke my heart, because I was just like, dude, I wonder if the reliability issue is there with Mercedes. It's been happening to George. Today it was Kimi's turn, right? It happened. It is what it is. But I just always wondered, like, if you would have not tried to pass George at the end there and just, I mean, they were doing a comfortable pace. Lewis was so gone that it wasn't even worth like burning through their grip and their tires and everything to try to catch him. He was 20 something seconds away. Like, he was gone. George did everything he could. He didn't have the pace today. Uh, or the mental, like maybe he just wasn't comfortable with the braking or something. But point is, he didn't have the pace. Kimi did, but I still think that Kimi shot himself in the foot. If it was me, I would have been like, you know what, I can keep Lando behind me. I will only use energy and like force my engine. But at the end of the day, that's also why Kimi is that edge of like, I don't give a fuck if I finish P2. I need to go P2. I think it was I think it's that's been carrying him, that like audacity of like, I know that I'm a kid, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 100%. But this is where experience would have been like, I think experience, a little bit more experience under his belt would have been like, you know what, P3's fine. I'm up by a lot. This is some more points to keep me keeping a little bit more of a thing. But at the end of the day, you can't call when your car's gonna fail. Like, it just does. It just fails, and it is what it is. But if you know you have reliability issues, there's only 6 laps left. Like, just, I don't know. Just baby it. Just get it there. Don't risk it. You know. Hadjar had a great fuck up that he had to fix. That's why I have at him as the biggest loser, not the best driver. It has to be. It has to be, because the places that he made up were from pitting and from being caught in traffic, and he had to pass all the hard ones. He had to pass McLaren, he had to pass Mercedes, he had to pass, you know what I mean? And everything about his drive today is the reason that he is Lewis Hamilton. He is who he is. And whether people want to be haters about him or not, this drive was crazy. It, like, I don't know how those upgrades were just chef's kiss, but without Lewis driving that car, I'm not sure that they could have pulled that off with anybody else today. It was amazing. Did he get any upgrades for his, or was Lewis's the test car today? I haven't looked into it either. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 4 a.m. You're up and watching it. Yeah. It'd be game on. Yeah. I I did want to move on to our next segment, right, which is, well, Stroll had me add this one last time, and it looks like I'm staying within the same realm. The biggest, yeah, the biggest fuck there. I have to do this. It's every race. There's somebody or some team. In this case, I don't want to blame Alonso, just because, well, I like him, and it's all a reliability thing. Aston Martin was the biggest fuck up. Depending on how you look at it, you're on Team Mercedes. They fucked you guys hard. If you're Team Ferrari, then that was a blessing. That was the biggest blessing. Williams, Albon, behind Perez, Cadillac. Williams has had, it's a pedigree team. Decades of, and they were dominating at one point in the sport, right? Like, they have championships and shit, and Cadillac is fresh. I feel for Albon. I don't know what's going on over there at Williams. I haven't really been able to deep dive into their, like, the tech talks and stuff of Williams and what's going on with their car. But Carlos Sainz is performing pretty consistently in that Williams, and Albon just fucking has had a landslide. And I do think that part of it is he's not. I don't think Albon is as happy as he thought he would be with Carlos there. And not to say that he doesn't like Carlos. I just think that it's adding pressure because before Albon was top dog there. Everyone, all of his teammates were kind of beneath him and not performing, and they weren't really progressing the car. It was all Albon up until Carlos got there. And I think it's taking a mental toll on him to see Carlos performing at this level, and he's performing down here because of all of the stuff going on behind the scenes that we probably have nothing to know about. But I think there's very clear drivers that if you can throw off their mental game, you will be able to whoop their ass. It happened with Lewis, and it's happening to Albon too. I don't know what's going on over there, but it's rough. And I'm proud of Cadillac and I'm proud of Perez because now all the haters once again, it's like, look at what he's doing with a Cadillac, bro. Look at what he's accomplishing. It doesn't seem like, to someone who doesn't watch this sport and doesn't understand how immense that is to bring a from scratch team on your first season. You're doing P14, P11s, P12s or whatever, 13s. That's crazy. They always start at the back. They always end up at the back, but somehow, at least Bettis is. And I wonder what the reliability is with Valtteri. Is he trying really hard to push it to try to gain a little bit more positions and it's just going really wrong? Or is his car specifically not getting certain upgrades? Because we've seen that before. That's what I was going to say. I feel like the experience of driving those cars has brought Perez to, like they say, like Lewis says, you feel everything in your bum. You can tell as a driver in your bum if something doesn't feel right, if something ain't moving right, if the throttle isn't responding how you want it to or whatever. And I think that driving those shitty cars has just made Perez that much better of a driver to be like, ooh, this engine, it doesn't feel as strong. I'm halfway through this race. I need to chill out and kind of, where I can afford to lose a couple seconds or milliseconds or whatever, I need to let this engine breathe or whatever it is that he's doing, How was he with tires too? He was the king of managing tires because of the way that he came up. They didn't have money to just get a brand new set of tires every race in karting and stuff like that. So he learned to manage those tires. It's all a big thing. I'm excited for Perez. I'm proud of Perez. I'm so happy that he's proving all the haters wrong, even if it is from the back of the grid.